So we raised the question of what is essential Hume with respect to ethics, morality. Hume, David Hume. Now that is a good one. If I want to put Hume in a few amount of words, his ethics, what would that entail? Hume is an empiricist. He's really a scientist, like a modern scientist, in the sense that he believed true knowledge comes from direct sense experience of the world. Okay? And that's where his connection with science kind of ends. He thinks that reality does come through our senses, and if we're going to present a moral theory, it ought to somehow come from the senses. He even wrote a book, Treatise on Human Nature, in which the experimental method of science is brought into moral subjects. He thought he could use the experimental method of science to discover a moral theory. Most people has kind of run away from that for a long, long time. Although some people in behaviorism and psychology have begun to look more in that direction. But the idea is, if all my true knowledge come from experience, sense experience, where does morality come from? Well, David Hume had an interesting way of looking at human nature. He thought the idea of experience means inner and outer. There's the empirical external experience, and there's also internal experience, your feelings of pain and pleasure, your joys, your sorrows, your happiness, and as he had written, your pride and your humility, your love and your hate. So there's these internal experiences, and Hume thought those internal experiences were just as valid as the external ones, because consciousness could not deny it. You couldn't deny feeling pain. You can't deny feeling hate or feeling love. Okay? When you have those experiences, you have them. So, because they were undeniable by the consciousness, they were real, just as real for him. So the facts he experienced through his senses are real, because that's what his consciousness gives him. He can hear, he can smell, he can taste. Similarly, there were these internal experiences. Hume argued, if you wanted ethics in the world, you needed to bring it down to consciousness in some way. Something that you can see in fact, or something that you can feel. Well, he wrote, is does not imply ought. You can observe through your eyes again and again and again. No matter how much you observe, that's not going to tell you how you should or should not behave, because is are the facts. The facts can't tell you how you're facts of today now. Can't tell you how you ought to behave tomorrow. Facts of today can't really allow you to judge what happened yesterday. I should not have done this. Okay? Because is does not imply ought means is. When you look at the facts are the facts. They're in the moment. When you say ought, you're making a projection into the future. Okay? Ought not, you talk about the future, something that you cannot in fact experience. So you can't get that through this factual approach. David Hume reasoned, however, you can do it through the internal experience, the inner feelings. Okay? And this became very controversial because as science progressed, they moved away from those feelings. And this is the way Hume approached it. He said, when you look at something in the world, the thing affects you. Okay? The facts affect your consciousness. And then those facts internally generate a feeling. You're looking at a sunset. The sunset strikes upon the senses, and boom, you respond with a feeling good. Then you say, it's beautiful sunset. It's not a subjective nature. That experience, that sunset in front of you, caused you to feel that way. So definitely it is objectively beautiful in the world. He thought this is his theory of aesthetics, which is, I think it's a good way to look at aesthetics. He said the same thing must be true in morality if there are objective moral truths. That if someone does something wrong in the world, and we observe it detached, like scientists, nothing to gain from the act one way or the other. If we just observe and open ourselves for the feeling that it produces, like when you're looking at a movie, okay? If we feel moral disapprobation, moral bad, moral, morally negative about what we're observing, that act is immoral. Not because it's subjective to me, because in reality it is moral. As far as the reality of experience, experience has caused me that this act causes moral disapprobation in me, therefore it is wrong. It is objectively wrong. See, this is the controversy in David Hume. Although you're using your feelings, it's not a subjective thing, how I feel about it. Not whether I like it or not like it. It's how that thing causes me to feel upon detached observation. Similarly, you see someone return someone's property and you observe it with detachment. Hume says if that observation causes you moral approbation, you feel good about it, then that act is morally right. It's morally right in the virtue of the feeling it gives rise to in you or any detached observer. It's not about me alone. Any detached observer should have the same feeling, Hume argued. It's not about me alone. So that's the general description of David Hume, his approach to morality. Okay, and with that, we can make a summary of how he approaches morality. For Hume, okay, an act is morally right if it is in agreement with a person's moral sentiment. It's considered moral sentiment. Another way to say it, if your act, okay, generates moral approbation in you, then your act is morally good. If your act produces moral disapprobation, then your act is morally bad. I'm trying my best to make this theory objective, and I really think, for me as a philosopher, that it works. It really is objective. The difficulty I know many people have with the theory is that people put their feeling as a priority over everything else, rather than letting the thing in the world cause the feeling in them. They want to think their feeling is more important, so therefore they shadow the feeling with their own. It's like arts. Or I'm a man and I see a beautiful woman. What makes her beautiful? Because I feel good about her? I feel I like her? No, not in David Hume world. The woman is beautiful, okay? If in observing her in a detached way, you have no intentions, no association with that person, not related to in any way, just observing that person causes in you this aesthetic feeling, this feeling of beauty, okay, this subtle feeling of beauty. So it's not about you having a thought or liking or disliking the person. In reality, in David Hume world, suppose you don't like that woman. You don't like her. Maybe she's a mean boss or something, okay? And you happen to observe her in a detached way. You still be able to experience her beauty. You don't like her, but she's still beautiful. That's because she caused that feeling upon your mind, your consciousness, and your inner consciousness. Your eyes cannot tell beauty in David Hume's world now. Please get that right. What happens is that your eyes will bring in that stuff, it'll strike upon the consciousness, and it'll leave a subtle feeling behind. Then, when you pronounce a woman beautiful, you are making an objective statement about reality. Hume saying the same thing with morality. If you observe that woman walking out of a store, for example, okay, and you observe her as a moral agent now, not as an aesthetic agent, but she's beautiful now, but as a moral agent. If you feel moral disapproval in this detached observation, you could say she's acting immorally. Not because you have any feeling for her or against her, but in that moment, that thing caused you to have that feeling. She caused you to have that feeling, therefore you judge her in this way. So for David Hume, it's clear what he's saying, but many people have challenges to that because of the overwhelming attachment people have to feelings today, and that their feelings has priority, and which reduces the impact of feeling that's caused onto them. I can understand people's position today, but nevertheless, I stand in strong defense of Hume's approach to morality.